Okay, so this is one of the output questions for algorithms. If you get one of these come up, it's one of the questions where you're either going to get full marks on it or you're going to make a daft mistake and end up getting 0 or 2 out of 8, which is the difference between a grade or 2. So it's certainly one to take your time over and double check. So to start with then, what get marked is the output, nothing else. I'm keeping a track of the variables in this window up here, but that won't be part of my answer, and you need to make sure that's clear to the examiner. To cross them out afterwards, or just make it very clear which is your answer. And also don't write the word output in your answer. This is just so that I can show you that. All you do is write down what the program would output. So to start with then, the program on line 1 is saying that multi is integer. So what we've got there is a variable that's being created called multi. And then straight away on the second line down it's going to set that to be 1. So I'm keeping a track of that over here. We've then got a subroutine that's starting called times up, and we go down to the next line, and we've also now got another integer that's been created called counter. And again on line 5 that's automatically set for us as 0. So we have our variables here and they've already been initialized. So on line 6 we've got our first output. Now you need to be really careful when you're writing this down that you only write down what's in the speech marks and you write it down exactly as it appears in the speech marks. Now you may have this electronically, not as an image, so you might even be able to copy and paste the text from it, but if not, just make sure that you're really careful to write down the exact spelling and the exact grammar that's been used. So you can see here my first output is beginning a loop. We're then at this point noticing that we've started a loop, a repeat. Initially now I would look down and try and see where that finishes and when. So you can see here that it's going to carry on until the counter's 3. So I need to bear that in mind as I'm going through this. So line 8, the counter is now going to be counter plus 1. So my counter is no longer 0, it's now gone to 1. And we've got another output. We've got counter is colon counter. Exactly as it appears there, we now need to output it. Counter is colon and then we output whatever was stored in the counter. Line 10, we're changing multi. So now multi is going to be multi times counter. So multi is currently 1, counter is currently 1, therefore nothing changes because 1 times 1 is still 1. We've now got our output. Multi is with a capital M and a colon, and then it outputs multi. So you can see over here we've got our third output. Line 12, until counter's 3, well counter's currently 1, so we know we've got to go back around the loop again. So counter is now going to be counter plus 1, so counter now goes up to 2. We now output counter is, and obviously output counter is 2. We then do the multi-line, which is multi times counter, so now we've got 1 times 2, so therefore multi now becomes 2. Next line down, we're outputting multi is multi, so we're now doing multi is 2. Checking whether or not the counter is at 3, which it isn't, so we go back up to here, counter becomes counter plus 1, so counter has now gone up to 3, and we output that line again. We do the multiply again and figure out that the multiplier is now 6, and we output that to the screen. Multi is 6. Until counter is equal to 3, well counter is now equal to 3, so we note that the loop has ended here. So we output to the screen, loop completed with a capital L and a lowercase c, and that's the end of the program. Don't write down line output numbers, don't put speech marks in here, don't put the title output, and don't put anything like output is, beginning a loop, etc. Check it and then check it again, because this is worth 8 marks and it's probably the easiest 8 marks you're going to get as long as you don't make any stupid mistakes.